The voice in your head or the voice in your heart? No, you're not going crazy. It's either your ego or your intuition. Which one is right though? That's what we're going to be talking about today on today's video. Hello, welcome back. My name is Dom and I help people to step into their truth and power. So how do you know if you're being guided by your intuition or your ego? No, you're not going crazy. I know it can sometimes feel that way, but it's not always easy to tell if our choices are coming from the right place. However, if you follow your intuition, I will tell you that your life is likely to be much more enjoyable and meaningful with more ease, peace, and flow. When we follow our ego, you might be successful in many ways, but you're gonna likely find yourself wondering why you're not as happy as you think you should be, and you'll be feeling more resistance and stress in the experience. So learning to determine whether you're being guided by your intuition or ego can make a huge difference in your life. While there are no hard and fast rules to make the distinction, there are some key tendencies that can serve as a guide for you. So I would like for you to consider these 6 differences. Number 1, ego-based decisions are grounded in fear and self-preservation. Let's say for a moment that you're deciding to go to medical school, and your primary reason for going is for financial security. That is ego. If you decide to not ask out that beautiful man or woman that you are attracted to, that is ego. Number 2, ego-based decisions typically have some level of logic connected to them. A choice made from a place of intuition just feels right. The things that intuition leads us to do often is not logical to our mind. For instance, you might be mowing the grass or washing the dishes, and then suddenly you're hit with an idea that you must do something. The resulting battle that goes on in your head as to whether you should or whether you shouldn't is your ego fighting back. Number 3, ego-based decisions consider external results. So maybe you would like to write a book. Are you writing that book in order to have a bestseller? Or are you writing a book because you're just fascinated with the idea of writing one, or feel really passionate about the subject matter you're writing about and truly want to serve others in sharing that information? Are you taking an action to gain a certain result? That's ego. Or does the action itself provide sufficient satisfaction for you? That's more intuition-based. Number 4, ego-based decisions involve rationalization. Your ego is so amazing at convincing you that its choice is the right choice. It might say something like, "I'll never get that job. Imagine how disappointed I'll feel when it doesn't work out. People like me are destined to only be supervisors. But there's nothing wrong with that. I can still have a decent life." It's really just a rationalization based on fear of success or fear of failure. The ego tries to justify itself with facts, figures, and logic. Intuition doesn't require this information to compel you. If you're using logic to convince yourself of a course of action, you can bet that it's your ego talking to you. Number 5, intuition doesn't judge. A thought or decision arising from intuition doesn't involve any judgment statements about being right or wrong or good or bad. Intuitive thoughts, however, feel very calm. They're relaxed. They feel peaceful. They just feel right. There is a truth specific to you that is present to an idea that arises from intuition. And number 6, is the expected gratification coming from within, or is it external? Would you make the same choice if no one ever knew? For instance, ask yourself, would you purchase that BMW if no one ever knew you owned it? Or do you simply love German automobiles and love the idea of owning a precision car? Are you driven by money and admiration or by personal satisfaction? And by the way, I want to share that there is absolutely nothing wrong with either of these. But when we're aware of how we're showing up and knowing the difference and responding to that difference in that awareness, it can have a dramatic impact on the experience that you'll have. So while the ego can be very limiting, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. Just remember that the ego's motivation is largely based on keeping you safe or self-preservation. Your ego believes that it has your best interests at heart in keeping you safe. But ignoring the ego can be challenging because it uses fear to influence you. Now, it's only natural for us to want to avoid fear and seek comfort. But the trick is to realize when fear is present. Fear of judgment and fear of failure are the two most powerful weapons the ego uses to convince us. Ego will use these things to keep you safe, and that can hold you back from something bigger and better. But sometimes fear is keeping you from doing something foolish. So if you're doing something foolish, recognize you're likely acting out of ego or emotion, not intuition. Our intuition or inner spirit usually doesn't lead us to do something foolish or without some level of inner wisdom being present. So think before choosing which voice to follow, because our ego uses thoughts in our mind to compel us to do or not do something, and it will often ask many questions we cannot answer. And so when our mind asks lots of questions, it often will drive up uncertainty, overwhelm, and anxiety, and we do nothing. We stay stuck in that. When we're in uncertainty, overwhelm, and anxiety, it's very difficult to tune into your intuition. So I've actually started practicing a short visualization that I created for myself that helps me to calm my mind down, so I'm able to tune into my heart and intuition more. It takes about 10 minutes to do, and if you would like to give it a try, I've put that link for you in the download. You can download it for free. That link is in the description box and comments below, so go check it out. So whether it's the tips in this video or the free download that I'm giving you, I really encourage you to use these tips to help you make a decision that will bring true happiness and joy to you. And so I'm curious, how do you know if you're hearing from your ego or your intuition? Share that in the comments below. Let me know, because I'd love to hear how it shows up for you. And if this video was helpful to you, please take a moment and pay it forward by sharing it online with your friends and family. It's my intention to have this information shared with as many people as possible right now, because I truly believe this is what's needed for so many people in the world, and you'll be helping to spread this information out and get it out. Lastly, please smash that subscribe button and bell to receive my newest videos as I release them in the coming days and weeks. So until I connect with you again for my next video, stay well, stay healthy, and stay empowered.